The click of the bolt is final. Cold air, heavy with natron and stale incense, meets her face. Deep within the Karnak temple complex, around 1100 BCE, what Egyptian priests did to temple virgins was a systematic erasure, a fate considered worse than death. These consecrated women, sworn to the god, vanished from public view. They carried the shen ring, a coiled rope carved in stone, symbolizing eternity. But the priests had twisted its meaning. It was no longer a promise of eternal life. It was the sigil of their confinement. Why did these women, holders of immense sacred power, suddenly disappear from the records? And what was the true, cold purpose of the hidden chambers they were locked inside? The holiest place had become a perfect prison. If you enjoy these dark histories, leave a like and subscribe and comment below where you're listening from. And now, back to the story. The procession does not end at the public altar. It continues past the sanctuary, beyond the hall of offerings, to a narrow slit in the basalt wall, hidden by a tapestry of the afterlife. The women are not led, they are filed. The air grows colder, stiller. The sound of Memphis, the sound of the Nile, is gone. There is only the scrape of sandals on polished stone and the metallic echo of their own hymns. They are no longer known by their family names. They are simply Necher, the servants of the god. Their fine linen robes are replaced with coarse uniform shifts. Their sacred titles are stripped away, leaving only their function. The shen ring, once a symbol of their high station, is replaced. Priests present each woman with a small, cold amulet, also carved in the shape of the eternal loop, but made of dark, heavy diorite. It is not a gift, it is a yoke. Their new world is a series, playground bench of chambers deep within the temple foundations, existing in the margins of architectural scrolls. This is the Per Duat, the house of the Underworld on Earth. By day, they weave linens for the god statue and grind minerals for sacred blue ink. By night, they are locked in stone cells, identical and bare. They are fed twice a day, flatbread, dates, and water from the temple's own well. It is a life of absolute monotony, designed to scrub away identity and replace it with pure ritual. But obedience is not absolute. One woman, her name already fading, keeps a tally. Every evening, she uses a fingernail to mark the mortar between the stones of her cell. She notes the rotation of the guards by the sound of their staffs. She saves a thread of wax from the ritual lamp, hiding the tiny sphere in her fist. She does not plan an escape. The walls are a mile thick. She is planning to remember. Why keep such perfect, useless records? The mercy is delivered by the high priest himself. He visits them not in anger, but with a face of profound, cold pity. He speaks of the corruption of the two lands, of weak pharaohs and foreign influence. Their families, he says, have forgotten true piety. They have been brought here, to this sacred core, to protect them, to shield their purity from a world that no longer deserves it. They are not prisoners, they are treasures. And treasures must be kept in the dark, under lock and key. The price of this divine protection was simple: their entire world. They were chosen to be holy, but they were kept to be silent. The high priest returns. The mask of pity is gone, replaced by the cool, dry surface of a man managing a resource. He stands before the row of silent women. The diorite shen rings heavy and cold against their coarse shifts. He speaks not of protection, but of balance. The world outside, he explains, is chaos. The gods are displeased. The very rituals that hold back the desert are failing. The temple needs more. Their presence here, he states, is the anchor. Their purity, their consecrated energy, is the only thing charging the inert statues and powering the state-sponsored hymns. They are the hidden batteries of Karnak. The condition is finally laid bare. It is not a trial of faith, but a demand for submission. Give your energy willingly, he says. Focus your prayers not on the God, but on the rites we perform. Be the source we require, and you will be given back your comforts: fine linens, wine, fruit. He pauses, his gaze sweeping over them. Refuse, and the God will take it anyway. But the vessel will be left empty. It is a threat delivered as a theological fact. The silence stretches. Then, the woman who marks the walls speaks. Her voice is a dry rustle, unused to open air. We serve the god, not the priests. The escalation is immediate, but cold. The priests do not use rods, they use absence. First, the soft pressure vanishes. No more false comforts, no more visits. Then, deprivation. The rations are cut, the bread is drier, the dates fewer. The ritual lamps that gave them a few hours of dim, flickering light are removed an hour earlier each night, until the darkness consumes more than half their day. The looms are taken, the half-finished linens for the god left to gather dust. Their purpose is removed, leaving only the stone. Finally, silence. The guards are ordered not to speak. They slide the food through slots in the door. The women are left utterly alone, in the cold, with only the sound of their own breathing and the distant muffled resonance of the temple chanting far above. They are entombed alive. This was the why. It was never about piety. It was about power. The priesthood, watching their political influence wane in the weak twilight of the 20th dynasty, grew desperate. The old rituals were failing to produce results, to awe the populace, to secure their status. The gods' wives and consecrated virgins, once figures of immense public and spiritual authority, had become a threat and a solution. The priests locked them away not to protect their purity, but to harvest it. They were not offerings, they were fuel. This was the price of their faith. Their sacred duty was a resource to be controlled, hoarded, and spent by men who feared they were losing their grip on the world. But the priests miscalculated. They believed that by taking away the world, they would break the women. Instead, they removed every distraction. The forced silence becomes a shared vow. The crushing monotony becomes a perfect internal discipline. The darkness sharpens their other senses. They can smell the change in the incense from the upper sanctuary. They can feel the vibration of the priest's footsteps before they arrive. The silence they intended as a weapon becomes armor. The women, stripped of everything, find they are left with only the god. And the god is not in the priest's empty rituals. He is in the stone. The prison had failed to break them. It was forging them into something else. Years pass in the cold basalt womb. The women are paler, thinner. The high priest is long dead, replaced by another who never visits. The ritual duties above have shifted. The guards are new and bored. They have forgotten why the women are here. They are just a line item in the temple's inventory of grain and incense. The woman who marked the walls is now old. Her fingernails are broken, the mortar is full. Her sphere of wax is a hard, useless pebble. One night, during the deepest silence, she does not sleep. She runs her hands over the cold blocks of her cell, feeling the grooves she memorized. Near the floor, one stone feels different. The mortar around it is softer, mixed with sand. She works for 3 nights, digging at the mortar with the sharp edge of a broken pottery shard left from a meal. The stone finally loosens. It does not lead to a tunnel. It opens into a small, dark void, barely wider than her arm. She reaches inside. Her fingers brush against something not of stone. It is smooth, light, and broken in 2. She draws it out. It is a shen ring, but not the heavy, dark diorite of the priests. It is light blue faience, the glaze cracked, an amulet from a previous generation. Someone was here before them. Someone else had been hidden, and someone else had tried to dig. She takes out her own hard gray sphere of wax. She places the broken faience piece next to it. She does not weep. She does not pray. She holds the 2 objects in her open palm. In the morning, when the first sliver of light from the food slot hits the floor, she shows the others. No words are spoken. They touch the broken ring, one by one. It is a wordless rite. They are not the first. They will not be the last. This hidden history would have been erased, like their names. Why did they cling to a symbol of their imprisonment? The official temple papyri from this period are pristine. The ledgers balance. The lists of hiddenhistory end, as if the sacred office simply ceased to exist. But history is kept in stone, not just on paper. In 1907, archaeologists excavating the vast Karnak cachette found a blocked-off service chamber, not a tomb, not a sanctuary. It was filled with dry rubble. When sifted, this rubble contained no gold, no jewels. It contained fragments of coarse linen, dozens of date pits, and something else. It contained over 40 shen rings. They were not the official diorite type. They were crude, small, and handmade. Some were carved from slivers of wood, some from soft soapstone. Others were molded from the hard, gritty clay of the Nile's mud, mixed with chaff. This was the hidden truth. The priests had given them the symbol of their confinement. The women adopted it as the proof of their survival. In the crushing dark, they had turned their prison into a secret workshop. They used scraps, shards, and mud to remake the one object that defined their world. They were not just marking time, they were creating a testament. The priests meant to drain them, to use them as spiritual fuel and discard the vessel. But the women kept their own account. They were not just surviving, they were recording. The great ledgers of Karnak are meticulous. They account for every jar of oil, every measure of grain, every sacred bull. But in the columns where the names of the Hemet Necher should be, the papyrus is simply blank. The entries stop abruptly around 1100 BCE. There are no death records, no notices of transfer. The scribes on priestly orders simply withheld their reed pens. Their names were not erased, they were never written. Centuries later, Greek historians walked these halls. They asked about the old stories, the legends of the gods' wives who once held so much power. The priests, now serving new masters, offered polite smiles. They spoke of metaphors. They described the sacred virgins as a poetic symbol for the purity of the land, not as women of flesh and stone. The whispers of their confinement were dismissed as a misunderstanding by the uninitiated. The truth had been scrubbed, replastered, and painted over with a cleaner myth. The crude handmade shen rings found in the cachet were cataloged by excavators as minor ritual objects or votive offerings. They were filed away, their meaning lost, a quiet testament mistaken for common dust. It began with the click of the bolt, a sound that was final. In the beginning, it was the sound of the cell door. In the end, it was the sound of the scribe's wooden case clicking shut. It was the sound of a history being sealed, buried under the weight of official silence.